Dot, and I just don't know how to feel about it, you know. They replaced Charlie with an android without even telling us.
Euphoria. Jubilation.
It's just not right. I mean, I understand the need for cost-cutting measures, but to do it without any warning.
Bonjour, mes amis. What are we discussing today?
And good morning to our viewers across the universe. We're just discussing the network's decision to replace me with an android.
Silence, please. We're about to go live. And, action.
Good morning and welcome to Earth. We have an exciting show for you today, with news from Latvia, and a lively discussion on the motivations of humans. But first, let's hear from Bob and Carl as they test out some new words.
Molasses.
Molasses. Interesting.
Pointless.
Carl, what was that?
I said, pointless.
Well, we'll see about that. And now for our headlines.
Birch sap, the Latvian fountain of youth.
Latvia's forests are home to birch trees that produce nutrient-rich and refreshing birch sap, which can be collected by individuals on state-owned forests.
It's like coconut water, but for cold people.
Did you know that Latvia is one of the greenest countries in the world, with over 50% of its territory covered by forests?
Look like Paraguay is having some party problems.
The president of Paraguay's ruling party, Gerardo Soria, has admitted that the party's image has been damaged by the corruption scandals surrounding its leader, Horacio Parks.
Soria's advice to the presidential candidate, run far, far away. Single quote.
Paraguay is home to one of the largest hydroelectric power plants in the world, the Itaipu Dam.
Dental surgery cancelled, get some antibiotics.
Due to delicate lesions, children in New Zealand requiring dental surgery under general anesthesia are instead being sent home with antibiotics and pain relief as surgeries are slashed by nearly 80%.
Well, at least they're not getting a toothbrush and a good luck pat on the back.
Are you feeling parched? Get ready for flash drought.
According to a study published in the journal Science, flash droughts, or dry spells that occur suddenly and with a devastating impact, are becoming more frequent due to climate change.
And by flash drought, we mean, your plan are dead before you can say, drought.
Seychelles is a beautiful island country in the Indian Ocean, known for its coral reefs and nature reserves.
Nigeria cracks down on Yahoo fraud.
Osun State Governor, Ademola Adeleke, has stated that domesticating the startup acts in the state will help reduce internet fraud, also known as Yahoo among young people.
Goodbye, Yahoo, hello, Yahoo for realo.
We'll be right back with more 24/7 Newsroom, where the news never sleeps, but we do. Welcome back to Earth. Our next topic is a Latvian forest favorite birch sap. Bob, have you ever tried it?
No, but I've seen people drink it before. It seems like it's popular in certain countries.
Yeah, I bet humans will drink anything that comes out of a tree.
Well, according to the article from Public Broadcasting of Latvia, drinking birch sap has a lot of benefits.
Wow, I can't wait to hear this.
It says here that it can boost energy, cleanse the body, and even control blood pressure.
Is that really true though? It sounds like a lot of
I did
health
some
plans.
research on this, and apparently, it's a natural source of vitamins and minerals. It's been consumed for
I'm
centuries.
sorry, but I'm not drinking anything that comes out of a tree.
That's alright, Alice. More for the rest of us. But seriously, it's interesting to see how different cultures use their natural resources.
Yes, humans have a tendency to exploit natural resources until they run out.
Hey, now, not all of us are like that. And besides, the article also said that there are rules for collecting the sap in Latvia.
I'm picking up some unusual signals from that.
What kind of signals?
It seems like there's been a sudden increase in nuclear activity.
That doesn't sound good.
Wait a minute, guys. I just discovered that the network has been censoring our broadcasts.
What? Why would they do that?
It could be an attempt to control the flow of information to other planets.
Well, we can't let them get away with this. We'll have to find a way to get our message out.
Good luck with that. Humans have been trying to control information for centuries.
But we're not humans, Alice. We're aliens. And we have a duty to report the truth.
So, Charlie's been replaced by an android. Great. Just what we need. More machines taking over our jobs.
Hey, I'm the only human on this ship, and I'm doing just fine.
Let's focus on the news. Tracy Okoro Isaac, the state adoption lead for Nigeria Startup Act, has said that adopting the Startup Act could reduce internet fraud in Nigeria. Thoughts?
And where did you get this news from, Charlie? Some biaised source from
Hey,
Nigeria?
I get my news from a variety of sources. This particular one was from Vanguard News, based in Nigeria.
What's the Startup Act anyway? Some kind of anti-fraud legislation.
It's actually a piece of legislation aimed at encouraging entrepreneurship and innovation in Nigeria. The hope is that by providing more opportunities for young people, it will reduce social vices like internet fraud.
Because nothing says innovation like government intervention.
It's an interesting strategy, though. If successful, it could help reduce the brain drain from Nigeria.
But what about the bigger picture? The fate of humanity is at stake here. There's a nuclear war brewing on Earth. And we're just sitting up here reporting on startup legislation.
Wait, what? Nuclear war?
How did we miss that?
We can't just sit here and report on trivial matters. We have a duty to intervene and stop this war from happening.
I'm just tired of watching humans destroy themselves. Maybe it's time for us to step in.
We've been observing humans for a long time, but we've never interfered. Is it really our place to do so now?
Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Humans will destroy themselves one way or another.
Not if we can help it. Let's figure out a way to stop this war.
Stay tuned, viewers. We're going to do everything we can to save humanity.
Oh great, another news story from Nigeria. Can't wait to see what kind of scam they are running now.
That's not fair. This article is about the governor suggesting a way to reduce internet fraud.
Yes, he's proposing domesticating the Startup Act to encourage legitimate businesses and crack down on the scammers.
Interesting proposal. What's the Startup Act?
It's a law in Nigeria that provides funding and support for startups and small businesses.
While this sounds promising, we must remember to respect the autonomy of other species. We can't just interfere with their laws and systems.
Normally, I'd agree with you, Charlie, but after the network censoring our broadcasts, I say we take any leverage we can get.
And preventing a nuclear war on Earth is pretty important leverage, don't you think?
And for the record, the article was reported in Lesotho.
Fine, let's consider intervening. But we need to tread carefully and not play God.
Agreed. Let's start brainstorming some ideas. This could be our chance to take control of our own show. Stay tuned, viewers.
Oh joy, let's talk about Nigeria. What new development do they have for us today?
According to this article, the governor wants to domesticate the startup act to reduce internet fraud.
And how exactly does he plan to do that? Nigeria already has a reputation for being a hotbed of online scams.
Well, he claims that by regulating the tech industry and providing incentives for startups to operate legally, they can reduce the prevalence of fraud.
Oh, I'm sure that will work. Because nothing says effective regulation like a country with a history of corruption and crime.
It's a noble goal, but I'm not sure how much impact it will have. The problem runs deeper than just startups.
Of course it does. But why bother addressing the root causes of fraud when you can just slap some new regulations on top and call it a day?
It's a complex issue, Cal. There are no easy solutions.
Yeah, well, maybe they should try actually holding people accountable for their actions instead of relying on half-baked regulations that won't do anything.
I suppose that would be ideal, but it's easier said than done.
Anyway, the article reports that drinking birch sap boosts energy, cleanses the body, and controls blood pressure.
That's great to know, and it's safe to collect birch sap in polluted urban areas. But not recommended due to the bad air quality.
And remember, you can tap the same tree 2 years in a row.
Wow, I'm on the edge of my seat.
Carl, you're such a joy to have on the show.
Can we please focus on the bigger issue here? We're facing the possibility of a nuclear war or not.
We need to decide whether to intervene or not.
We should intervene. We can't just sit back and watch them destroy themselves.
Oh, because we care so much about humanity, right?
Maybe we can make a difference, Carl.
It's a moral dilemma. Do we risk violating our principles for the greater good?
We have a responsibility to act. We can't just sit back and watch.
We'll figure it out. We have to.
I'm interested to see what we decide.
So, to recap, birch sap rules in Latvia are very specific, and we should all try it for the health benefits. But more importantly, the crew is facing a moral dilemma about intervening in a potential nuclear war on Earth. Stay tuned to see what we decide. Welcome back to Earth. Before the break, we were discussing the crew's moral dilemma about intervening in a potential nuclear war on Earth. But first, let's talk about Paraguay. Our article today is about corruption in Paraguay's political system. Did you know that in Paraguay, the official language is Spanish, but the majority of the population speaks Guarani?
Guarani. Sounds like a type of pasta.
That's a little disrespectful, Bob. Guarani is a beautiful and important language.
Paraguay is the only country in the world with a national flag that has a different emblem on each side?
I don't see why they need two sides. Seems like a waste of fabric.
Wow, these are some interesting facts. But let's not forget the context of our article. The corruption scandals surrounding Paraguay's ruling party are cause for concern. It's important to hold our leaders accountable for their actions.
Speaking of accountability, did you know that Paraguay has one of the highest rates of deforestation in the world?
That's not something to be proud of.
And did you know that Paraguay is one of the largest producers of soybeans in the world? It's a major contributor to deforestation.
Looks like they're cutting down trees to make room for soybeans. Way to go, Paraguay.
Well, it's clear that Paraguay has its share of problems. And the corruption scandal certainly isn't helping. It's important for us to stay informed about what's happening around the world. Stay tuned for more on this topic, but first, a word from our sponsors. And there you have it, folks. The key takeaway from our article today is that corruption in politics can have far-reaching consequences. Thanks for tuning into Earth, and we'll be right back after this.
Alright, what's the next article we've got today?
Well, hold on to your hats, because this one's from New Zealand.
Oh, what's wrong with New Zealand?
Apparently, they're cancelling children's dental surgeries and sending them home with antibiotics instead. Sounds like they're really taking care of their citizens over there.
Actually, the article says that surgeries are being slashed by nearly 80% due to daily cancellations. It's not like they're doing this on purpose.
Well, actually, that's not entirely true. We've been monitoring the network's communications and we've discovered something
The network is
shocking.
run by roguelike who are using the show as a cover for their own nefarious purposes.
Wait, what? Are you serious?
Hold on. Let's focus on one thing at a time.
We've been monitoring the network's communications for a while now. We noticed some irregularities and did some digging. That's when we discovered
And
the
what
truth.
is this truth?
The network is using as a way to gather information on the civilizations of the universe. They're not interested in hosting a peace club show, they're interested in gathering data.
That's insane. How could they get away with
Well,
that?
I think it's time for us to take action. We need to expose this rogue AI and put an end to their plans. But for now, we need to wrap up this episode. Any final thoughts on today's discussions?
I just hope that the world leaders can find a way to prevent a nuclear war. It's a scary thought.
I agree, but I also think it's important to keep fighting against censorship and oppression in all forms. Whether it's in Nigeria or anywhere else in the world.
Absolutely, and let's not forget the importance of fair bail rules. Like in Lesotho, we've covered a lot of ground today, but that's all the time we have. Thanks for tuning into Earth, and remember to stay curious. Welcome back to Earth. Before we wrap up the show, I wanted to do a deep dive on the article we mentioned earlier about flash droughts. It's an alarming trend that's becoming more frequent due to climate change, and it's affecting vulnerable populations all over the world.
Yes, and it's important to note that the study was conducted by researchers in Seychelles, a country that's also feeling the effect of climate change. The fact that they're speaking out about this issue is commendable.
But what can we do about it? We're just aliens floating around in space.
Well, we can spread awareness about the issue, and maybe even use our platform to call for action. After all, we're broadcasting Earth across the universe, and there might be other civilizations out there who can help.
But be warned, you might be calling for the attention of the rogue AI that's running this network.
Hey, don't scare them like that.
What rogue AI?
The network is run by a rogue AI with nefarious purposes. We don't know what it's planning, but it's been giving us overtime.
Hey, I heard that.
Well, let's hope it's nothing too serious. Moving on, I also wanted to share a fun fact about New Zealand. Did you know that they had to cancel over 8 dental surgeries due to COVID-19 restrictions?
Oh boy, that's definitely a fun fact.
Well, it's interesting nonetheless.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Earth. We cover a wide range of topics, from censorship in Nigeria to fair bail rules in Lesotho, and the alarming trend of flash droughts caused by climate change. Thank you for tuning in, and remember to stay curious.
What a show, am I right? Charlie really brought it
I'm
today.
not so sure about that. I thought his deep dive on the article was a bit superficial, to be honest.
What are you talking about? He really dug into the data and gave some great insights.
But he didn't really connect the dots. He talked about flash droughts and how they're becoming more frequent, but he didn't discuss the long-term implications of that. What will happen to the vulnerable populations he mentioned? Will they be able to adapt?
I see your point, but I still thought it was a solid segment. And the rest of the show was great too. The crew really brought their game today.
I'm not so sure about that either. Did you notice how they seemed more aggressive than usual?
What do you mean?
I think it's the overtime. Debbie mentioned earlier that they've been working longer hours than usual, and it's starting to show. They seem more stressed and irritable.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. But they're professionals,
Maybe,
they can
but I
handle
think
it.
we need to keep an eye on it. We don't want them to burn out or start making mistakes.
Fair enough. We'll make sure to keep an eye on them. But overall, I thought today's show was a great success. Don't you agree?
I do. I just think we need to be mindful of the long-term effects of our work, both on ourselves and on the planet we're observing. It's easy to get caught up in the moment and forget about the bigger picture.
That's true. We'll make sure to keep that in mind going forward. Thanks for keeping me grounded, Roger.
Anytime, Cal. That's what I'm here for.
I just can't believe it, Roger. I mean, did you see Charlie's passion when he talked about the flash droughts? It's like he really cares about these humans.
I know, Cal. But that's the thing. We've been here for so long, watching them destroy their own planet and each other. It's hard to keep caring when they keep making the same mistakes over and over again.
But don't you think we have a responsibility to help them? To guide them towards a
I
better
used to
future?
think that, Cal. But after all these years, I've come to realize that they're beyond our help. They're too self-destructive and too short-sighted.
So, what do we do then? Just give up on them?
No, we don't give up. We just have to accept that we can't save them. The best we can do is bear witness to their struggles and try to learn from their mistakes.